What up, everybody? We're going to get started with today's Master Your Day, Master Your Life live stream. No matter where you're listening from, we got people from Facebook, from YouTube. You might be listening on the podcast. We got a lot of different places that you can be listening, that you can be watching. Wherever you are, thank you for joining and welcome to the Master Your Day, Master Your Life podcast. If you didn't know, the purpose of this podcast, of this live stream, is to ensure that you make every single day progress, everyday progress towards your goals, progress towards your dreams, progress towards your vision, progress towards every single thing that you want. Because the name of the game, in my opinion, is everyday progress. If you can, put in the chat where you're from, where you tune in. If you're excited about today's live stream, please let me know. Now, today's topic, it's at that time of the year. It's New Year's resolution time, right? New year, new me. This year is going to be different. Does New Year resolutions work? Do they not work? I don't know. We'll see in this session of Master Your Day, Master Your Life, the live stream. We're going to see and we'll find out today. But if you're ready, let me know. Are you ready? Let's get it. Now you already know. Before we start our excuse me, before we start our live stream, before we do anything, it's my custom to clear up the assumptions. Because they say when you assume, you make, certain things, right? So it's always my custom to ensure that we're on the same page. It's kind of like the prerequisites. When you get into class, when you go to school, when you go to college, you got to make sure you got the prerequisites in place before you go into the main course. So today, before we go into the content today, I do want to make sure that we have our assumptions in place. So the first assumption that I have for you, I got to start at the third one. We're going to start the first one. So the first assumption for today is I assume that you are not a New Year's Grinch. I assume you're not a New Year's Grinch. You probably heard of, obviously, you heard of the Grinch. You heard of the Christmas Grinch, and you got the Christmas Grinch. Obviously, the Christmas Grinch is someone who just hates Christmas. He hates, the energy around Christmas. He wants to destroy Christmas. But also, you have what I call the New Year's Grinch. this time of the year, you got people that's setting new goals, that's going after new dreams. They're setting New Year's resolution. They're excited about the new year. But you got some people in the corner that kind of get a little grinchy about it. They're in the corner like, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in any of that stuff. They even go so far as to try to discourage other people from having goals, from having New Year's resolutions, from pursuing their goals, pursuing what they want. So I assume on this broadcast that you are not a New Year's Grinch. Now, I want you to know, like in these live streams, I do some of the top research you can possibly do to bring you the live content that's going to help you and shape your future. All right. I do some of the I got to give myself a pat on the back here. All right. So I did a little research on the Grinch. OK. I went back to the old school. I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it over. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I got to wondering, like, why was this man just so angry about Christmas? Obviously, we're talking about New Year's, but again, you can be a New Year's Grinch. It's the same thing. So I got to thinking, like, why was this man, the best time of the year, why was he so hateful and spiteful of the people that was celebrating Christmas at the time? And I read the story again. I got to admit to you, I went through this whole book again. I know it's a children's book. I know it's an easy read, but I went through it, and I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if you've ever read Dr. Seuss. It's some deep stuff in here. But I got to why this guy, the Grinch, was so evil and so hurt and so angry and hateful towards other people just because they were celebrating their life. And I'm going to read a little passage. Yes, we're reading Dr. Seuss, but I'm going to read a passage out of this book, and I think you're going to really enjoy it, and it's going to really give you some intel about why or how you can become a Grinch about New Year's. All right, here we go. I'm going to start from the beginning. So it says, every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. Man, that's deep, right? The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason, but they will get to the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. The reason why the Grinch became the Grinch is because he lost heart, y'all. And the reason why you can become a Grinch about things, a Grinch about the New Year's, is you can lose heart. You can lose hope. You can lose belief, in other words, and your potential to change and your potential to go to the next level, which leads me to the next assumption. I assume you still believe in your potential to change. Now, I know what happens, right? What happens with New Year's, we start off, we get excited, you go to the gym. The gym is like jam-packed. It's, hundreds of people in the gym that if you've been to the gym regularly, they're not usually there, but they're there, right? And, again, it's the time of the year where everybody's excited about their goals, excited about where they're going. And you get that belief in your potential. But what happens is it starts to wane down and you lose your excitement about your resolution. You lose that excitement. We're going to get to why that happens. But what happens is if this cycle continues for so long, you get to a place where you start to avoid that pain. You're like, why try to change if I know I'm not going to be able to change effectively? Why even make the attempt at being a better person if I know it's just going to cause me even more pain? There's a story of mine, actually it's a story of my life. But what happened was it's back when I was in college. My wife and I, we were together. I think it was maybe like our first year together. And we lived in an apartment. It was off campus. I think we were married at the time, hopefully. But we were living together, and what happened was we were paying like $500. I think it was like $500 in rent. It was like, I don't know I don't even think they even have apartments in life that pays $500 a month. But long story short, at the entrance of this apartment, I would come in, and you know how you have to put in the numbers to get into the gate or the code. So what would happen was I would push the numbers, and every time I would hit the enter button or the last button, I would get a little shock. And it happened like over and over and over again. Like it got to a point that every time I would try to push it, I would just hesitate just a little bit because it was just like a mental thing. I was like, oh my goodness, this is about to shock me. It was just enough where it wasn't like super painful, but it was enough where I noticed it, and every single time. So I would press that button and it would shock me, shock me, shock me, and shock me. Now here's the crazy part about that story. Eventually they fixed the machine. They fixed the machine, but every time, like even after that, every time I would press the buttons, I would jump just a little bit right before I pushed the last button. I would just it was ingrained inside my mind that every time I pressed this button, I was going to get shocked. And sometimes failure and feeling pain can do something to your mind where you start to try to avoid that. So, when it comes to going after your New Year's resolution, when it comes to going after change, you got to convince yourself, remind yourself again that you have the potential to change. Now, the last part, like, of that story, to this day, like when I go to different places where I have the key and the code, like to this day, I still have that little inkling in there. So, you got to get over that. I got to get over, right? But you got to still believe in your potential to change. And the last assumption that I have for you is I assume you're willing to make a positive decision. Now, you notice I say positive decision because whether you know it or not, you're making a decision. Like whether you're making a decision. Like you decide that you're not going to set a New Year's resolution. You're not going to write goals. You're not going to go after your dreams. You're not going to do this. By default, you're deciding to take another path. So everything that you do is a decision, and everything that you do in life starts with a decision. It starts with a decision. So if you want to create change, if you want to create a better life in 2022, you got to be willing to make a positive decision. But by default, you're going to make a negative. So you might as well just make a positive decision. So now here's the issue with New Year's resolutions, right? Here's what happens. We get on our journey. We go, we set our goals. What happens is we get distracted. Now, I did a little research on distractions, and before I even go to the definition, I'm going to show you a quick video. Oh man, what's going on here? I'm going to show you. All right, we're back in action. I'm going to show you a quick video that I did back in the day that's about distraction. I'm going to show you this video, and then I'm going to get into the definition of distraction. It's going to draw some sincere light on why and how we get off focus in life. But here we go. I'm tired of mediocre. I'm about to get serious about my life. I'm about to get serious about this. Man, I've been sitting on this idea for way too long. Man, that dude Daryl Wood say, you got to start now. So I'm about to start now. I'm about to get after it.
Now here we go again.
Matter of fact, I'm about to go. I'm about to grind, man. Okay.
A few moments later.
Hey, did you see that Instagram post I sent you? Yeah, but I thought you were supposed to be focusing. I am. I was working for about an hour. I was taking a 5-minute Instagram break. Can I do that? That don't even make sense. It's only been 15 minutes. Man, whatever.
5 minutes later.
Oh, did you see the trailer for the Meg movie? And you just had to tell me now, right? You the one who liked Jaws and Shark Week and all that stuff. Wow, it's been 30 minutes. He must be really taking it serious. Let me go check on my boy.
What did you say?
Now that video is from a while ago, but it illustrates exactly what happens when we start and execute or try to go in a positive direction in life. We get distracted. Now, it may not look like that, right? That's a short-term distraction. But when you look at the definition of distraction, I'm going to share my screen here. When you look at the definition of distraction, it has a much deeper meaning than I think we give it credit for. So if you go back to the words, it's a mid-15th century word, and it's the drawing away of the mind from one point of course to another or others. I'm going to say that again. The drawing away of the mind from one point or course to another or others. What happens is when we get on a journey to success, a journey towards change, we get drawn away from our goals. We get drawn away from our vision. And what happens when we get drawn away from things, we start to lose focus and we start to get in the wrong and go in the wrong direction. So you can change, right? You can create a better life. You can do that. But what happens is we get distracted. You get distracted by other things that comes in, gets your attention. We're going to talk about attention today, but it gets your attention and it draws you away from it. So you start, I mean, it's the prototypical New Year's resolution, health, right? When you look at the statistics, health and going to the gym is like one of the biggest things that happens. You get up on January 1st, 2022, you go to the gym. You got a good rhythm going. You're going. But what happens is you get drawn away from it. And there's a lot of different things that can draw you away. People can draw you away. Different desires can draw you away. Yourself can draw you, like literally your mind starts to draw you away. You get bored with it. But I want to help you not get drawn away in 2022. Because one thing that I learned about New Year's resolutions, and one of the things that I started to understand, is that New Year's resolutions technically work, right? They technically work. For most people, they technically work. The issue isn't whether they work. The issue is, do they last? Like, I don't think the question should be, does New Year's resolutions work? Like, if you set a New Year's resolution and the next day and for a week you go to the gym, which most people do, that worked, right? It created some type of change or success in your life. The question is, how do you get your New Year's resolutions to last? Now let's take a look at the statistics on how and when or how far people usually last with their New Year's resolutions. So this is from dailyhabits.com, discoverhappyhabits.com. But according to the statistics, it says of those who make New Year's resolutions, after 1 week, 75% are still successful in keeping it. That's pretty good. I mean, for 75% of the people to still be successful, that's pretty good. That's after 1 week. Now, I'm not going to pat you on the back for lasting 1 week, but still, they made some positive change. After 2 weeks, the number drops to 71%. After 1 month, the number drops to 64%. After 6 months, 46%. And in comparison to those people who have similar goals but do not see a resolution, only 4% are still successful after 6 months. So as you can see, you can say that, hey, they don't work. But in my opinion, they work. It's just they don't last. So the question is, how do we get to a point of how do we make our New Year's resolutions last entire year where it's permanent change in our life? Because I think all of us would agree that we don't want to make a short-term change. We want to make a change, a permanent change in our life where we can stay consistent and go after our goals from the January all the way to the next year, to the next year, and to the next year. But here's the thing. I got to thinking about a story, and it got me thinking about just New Year's and what happens with New Year's resolutions. And again, just thinking about like why people get bitter about New Year's, bitter about change, bitter about, different things happening in our life. What happens is, right, we start to change and we give up, or we change, we give up, we change and give up. And then unfortunately, we start to do this crazy thing in life called wandering. We wander. And there's a story in the Bible, and, I'm not a Bible scholar or anything like that, but if you look at the children of Israel, they were, if you're not too familiar with the story, I think everybody is familiar with the story about Moses and, him getting the people out of Egypt. But what happened was Moses led the people out of Egypt, right? God did these 10 miracles, and it was like, wow. I mean, if you go come out of something, that's the way to come out. God did like these 10 miracles, sent the 10 plagues, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. But then what happened is they got out, but then they go into this place, and they said God's ultimate goal for them was to get into the promised land, right? They said, God said, we're going to get you out of Egypt, and we're going to go to this promised land. So what happened was, after they got out of Egypt, they sent 12 spies to go and look at the promised land. So what happened when those 12 spies came back, 10 of those 12 spies was like, man, y'all don't want to go over there. They're like, y'all like this. There's some giants over there. There's some people over there that I don't think we want to go over there. And then there's two. I won't talk about too much for this session, but there's two of them. And I was like, man, we can do this. Like, well, let's go. Like, God got us through all this. But long story short, the reason why I'm bringing up this story is because what happened was that people ended up getting angry. They was like, man, God brought us all the way over here to kill us. Like, why would he do that? Like, they got to a point, they said, man, God is trying to kill us. He brought us all the way over here for these Canaanites to kill us and all that. But again, I won't go too much into the story. But as a kid, listening to that story, I never really questioned the entire story. You know, you hear about the miracles. I heard about that type of stuff. I heard everything. I heard all the different aspects of the story. But the one aspect that always got me was, how did they wander for 40 years? Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you wander for 40 years? Like, how do you, I won't go too much into the story, but the space that they were in, it wasn't like a huge space. It was like a pretty tight space. And you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. They were wandering in the same space. But then what happened was, I got a little older. I got a little mature. I got a little bit more experience with life. And I started to see and realize how easy it is to wander. And it's like, and it hit me like, man, it's really scary. Like, you can live your life wandering, just wandering around the same goals, the same change from 1997. You're trying to make that same change, and you still work on that same. And this is not just you. This is me. This is like, it can happen to any of us. But it's possible to get in a rut and just wander and wander and wander. And to me, it's like it's really scary when you think about it. Like, your whole life, like, you don't want to do that. Like, so when I come with this material, when I come with today, I'm coming from a perspective of, don't wander. Let's go after our goals. Let's go after our dreams. Let's finally make the change that let's finally become the person we want to become. Let's finally lose the weight. Let's not even go back to it. Let's stop. Let's stop going back to the same thing. Let's move on. Let's get a new problem for 2022. Like, after the end of 22, like when we go into 23, let's have a whole different problem or issue that we're working at. That's a whole different level. Like, at some point, you got to leave behind the same issues. So as we go into the end of this, it's going to end up being a 2-part series. This is part 1. I'm going to go into a few different things and really 4 different areas when it comes to making positive change and really productivity in 2022. Again, this is part 1. Part 2, I'm gonna get a little bit more practical. But for this session, I just wanted to talk about a little bit more on the mindset, right? And these 4 areas is something that I did a ton of research on, a ton of study on to try to understand really how to make positive change. Now, again, it's called the 4 areas. It's called the 4 areas, okay? The reason why it's called area is because it stands for something, AREA. So the first A is attention. I'm just going to run through them. The first A is attention. The R is rhythm. The E is experiences. And last but not least, the last A is alignment. So that's attention, rhythm, experiences, alignment. I'm going to run through them real quick. But this is something that we go in detail on our Master Your Day workshop. Master Your Day workshop. If you're a person that you need to get to a position where you're mastering your day, I want to encourage you to join us for our Master Your Day workshop. Because what I've learned is that, yeah, you can change. You can make these, slight changes in your day. You can say decide. But really what it comes down to is daily. What are you doing on an every single day basis? How are you creating change on an every single day basis? How are you carrying that from day to day to day? Because it's not about mastering life, right? You can master life, but you're not going to master your life until you master your day. So let's go into the 4 areas. The first A, again, is area. The first A is attention. It's attention. Attention. What are you giving your attention to? What are you giving your attention to? Like, if you don't get anything from this live stream today, this is probably the most important thing. What are you giving your attention to? Now, when I say attention, you probably think, okay, attention. No, attention is like a really, really deep thing, right? Every single thing that you are, every single belief, every single feeling, every single thing that you have in life is the result of your attention, where you place your attention. Like, I have a son now. He's 4 months years old, and when you look at him, he's always paying attention to something. Now, when I look at that as a dad, I'm like, man, what's he paying attention to? The answer to that is everything. Like, he's paying attention to everything. Everything is he's consuming it. He's taking it all in, and he's crafting his language. He's crafting his beliefs. He's crafting his image. He's taking everything in, and ultimately that's going to create his life. So it's upon me, upon us, to create a life where he has the attention, positive attention. So when it comes to you, when it comes to your dreams, when it comes to your positive change, the reason, again, why we get distracted is because we start to give attention to other things. So when you get on your journey to change, journey to success, you got to keep your attention on the things that you want, on the things that you want to create. The moment you lose attention is the moment you get off track and you get distracted and you get drawn away from your goals and your dreams. So the first A is attention. Now, one thing about attention is, naturally, when you give something attention, you are ignoring something else. So naturally, if you are giving attention, you're naturally ignoring something else. So if you want to create success, if you want to be consistent, thank you, Rosine. Thank you, Jamaica. Thank you, Deanna. That's my mom. This is awesome. That's major. Thank you so much, y'all. But as you go on your journey, you got to remember to keep your attention, but also you got to remember what to ignore. Oh, man. You got to remember what to ignore. Like, forget all the mess. Like, I don't care what it is. It could be people. It could be your negative friends and negative families, or it could be just thoughts. Like, right, the different beliefs. You got to learn how to ignore certain things and give your attention to the right things so that you can make the progress that you want. Again, these 4 areas. This is just a general high level. On our part 2. Next week, we're going to give some more specific actions you can take, but it's important that we get through this. The next one, so you got attention, you got R. The next one is rhythm. I'm a big believer in rhythm. You have habits in life, but I think at the core of creating habits is creating a good rhythm. You got everything in life runs off a certain rhythm. Like, if there's success that you want to create in life, you just got to get in the rhythm of that success. You got your circadian rhythm, like that regulates your sleep and your wake time and your energy. I mean, that's super important. You got to get that rhythm right. But there's also a certain rhythm to the life that you want to create. So if you want to lose weight, or if you want to start a business, or you want to even just take your business to the next level, you got to find that rhythm and just get in that rhythm. Now, the thing that I love about rhythm, because they say that when it comes to change is, if in order to create a habit out of it, is they recommend, hey, you got to do it at least 30 to 90 days, right? At least do it for 30, 90 days. And then that's when, technically, in their eyes, they say you create change. But for me, I say it don't take all that. Like, you want to do that. Like, eventually you'll do that. But really, it's more important just to get in the rhythm of doing something, because once you get into the rhythm of doing something, the habit of doing it will come naturally to you. But it's a much deeper topic than I have time to go through. Again, our Master Your Day workshop, we'll go a lot more detail in it and help you to get that rhythm. But we're going to move on to the E, and we're going to close it down for today. So the E is your experiences. Your experiences in life. Now, I'll be honest with you, this E, it used to be your environment. But what I learned about environment is that really your environment gives you an experience. Really, the deeper thing of it is the experience that you create, that you have in life. You have your mental experience, right? Every day when you wake up, you're having a mental experience. You're experiencing different feelings, different thoughts, different emotions, different frustrations, all this is going on a daily basis. So you got to get your mental experience to a place where it supports your goals and your dreams. Like if your mental experience when you wake up is negativity, I can't do this, I feel anxiety, or I feel like I can't do this, I feel like I'm a failure, or any of that, right? If your mental experience is that, then of course you're going to get distracted. You're going to get off course when it comes to your goals. So you want to make sure you have a positive mental experience, but on top of that, you want to make sure you have a positive physical experience, right? And there's different aspects of the physical experience. I can't go through all of them, but mainly, right, your friends, the people you hang around, they're giving you an experience. When you hang around with your friends, when you talk to your friends on the phone, they're giving you an experience, and really it affects your mental experience. So when you hang around, let's say a negative person, they're talking about, let's say you're hanging around a New Year's Grinch, and they're talking about how bad they fell off track on their New Year's resolution. Like, girl or boy, I don't know why you even set those New Year resolutions. They don't work. You're not gonna keep going forward. You're not gonna be successful. So of course, like if you listen to those people, they're gonna get you off track. So that's attention, rhythm, experiences, and the last A, and it's one that is kind of overlooked. And this last A is alignment. I'm explaining it. I know when you hear that word, you're like, what does that mean? Alignment. You want to make sure your goals, your dreams, your actions, your pursuits is in alignment with who you are. You got to make sure it's an alignment with your strengths, with your personality, with your desires. If it's not in alignment with who you are, you're going to get off track. You're going to get distracted. So when I talk about alignment, we're talking about being aligned with who you are, not with who anybody else is. Because sometimes we set goals and we have different desires that's really for other people, or that's more in alignment with them than is with who we are as a people, or who you are as a person. I'll give you an example, right? Just thinking about the gym. When you go to the gym, there's some people who absolutely just hates the gym. But there's some people who loves the gym. Now, some person would say, well, if you hate the gym, you just need to push through it and you need to just go to the gym. No. Like if you hate the gym, just find something different. Maybe it's CrossFit, or maybe it's I don't know, a dancing class, or maybe it's playing a different sport, or doing something that you actually enjoy. Like you want to make sure that when you create your action plan, when you set your goals, you want to make sure it's in alignment with who you are. And obviously, one of the things that comes to mind when it comes to alignment is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was one of the, not one of the, some would argue the best basketball player of all time. But he was also a baseball player. Now, when you think about Michael Jordan, you don't naturally think baseball. You think basketball. But he was actually a decent baseball player, but he would never be known for being a baseball player like he's known for as he is as a basketball player. Because basketball was more aligned with who he was and with his strengths and with his personality, and everything about him was just basketball. So in life, you want to find that thing for you. Like, what's your basketball? What's that thing that you're so good at, that you love doing, that you love to execute on a daily basis? My mom, she has a spa, the Detox Spa in Orlando. And one thing about my mother is she absolutely loves to serve people. Like, she loves serving people. She loves taking care and catering to her clients' needs. And, that what she's doing is in direct alignment with who she is. And if you go on Google, just Google Maps and just put in the Detox Spa Orlando, you'll notice like she has, I think, almost 100 ratings, and there's not one, like she's five, like you rarely see 5 stars. But the reason why she excels at that is because it's in alignment with who she is. So you want to find that thing that puts you in alignment. And I know we went on a little long today, but it was an awesome time. I hope you enjoyed today. Again, we're going to do a part 2 of this. We're going to get a little bit more into the practical side of this and how to execute on your New Year's resolution, your goals, and your permanent change. I would encourage you, go back, re-listen to this. Like when I talk about area, like alignment, or your attention, your rhythm, your experiences, your alignment, like those are some major things. And if you want a little bit more detail or intel on that, please join us for your Master Your Day workshop. Our Master Your Day workshop, just go to masteryourdayworkshop.com. But it's been a pleasure having this time with you, and I thank you for joining. I want to remind you that if you want to have a good life, just have a good year. You know, if you want to have a good year, have a good month. If you want to have a good month, have a good week. If you want to have a good week, have a good day. And if you want to have a good day, have a good now. It's been a pleasure having you with y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.